Okay, here we go. Homework 3.03, 303. That's a palindrome. Not really sure what that has to do with anything, but just figured I'd throw it out there. All right, continuing our work on proportions. This is just, again, practicing our cross multiplication, making sure we know how to do these problems. So on this first one here, we've got g times 10. We've got 5 times 6. So those are going to be the two separate sides of our equation. 6 times 5 is 30. Equal sign comes down. 10 times g is 10g. Divide both sides by 10. 3 equals g. Okay, so let's take a look at the next one here. Again, same type of setup. Only difference here is we've got a few more negatives. All right, so you got to watch out for those and make sure you're keeping track of them. All right, but we're going to do the same cross multiplication that we've been doing. Negative 1 times x. You could write this as negative x. I like to write it as negative 1 times x, negative 1x, because I just feel like it makes it a little clearer on what you're doing in the next step. All right, 3 times negative 32 is going to be negative 96. Now we divide both sides by a negative 1, and that's why I like putting the 1 in there. I just think it makes it a little more clear. Divide by negative 1, x equals positive 96. Okay, negative divided by a negative gives us a positive. All right. Let's take a look at the next one here. All right, this is where they pick up a little bit because now instead of having one number on top or one variable on top, we have a binomial. We have two terms up there, so it's going to make it a little more work when we're solving these. All right, but we're still going to be cross multiplying. We're doing the same technique that we did on the first two. The only difference is this negative 2 has to be multiplied by both of these pieces. So the way we represent that is negative 2 parentheses p plus 8, close your parentheses, equals negative 10 parentheses p minus 3. All right, so we've got a little extra work to do on here because we're going to have to do the distributive property on both sides here. Negative 2 times p is going to be negative 2p. Negative 2 times a positive 8 is going to be a minus 16 equals negative 10 times p is going to be negative 10p. And then here, where we have a negative times a negative, that's going to give us a positive. So we're going to end up with a plus 30. Okay? So we've got variables on both sides. We want to move them to the same side. We usually move the smaller variable. Now, I know what you're thinking. Smaller must be the 2. When it's negative, the smaller number would actually be negative 10. So we're going to plus 10p to both sides, plus 10p. Negative 2 plus 10 is going to give us a positive 8p minus 16 equals 30. Okay? Now we're kind of just to the two-step equation part. Plus 16, 8p equals 46. Divide both sides by 8. P is going to equal, let's see here, 46 divided by 8, 5.75. Okay? So there that one goes. A little more work, but same general idea. All right, so let's do the last one on the front here. Same as number 3, actually a little easier because there's only one binomial instead of 2. So we're only going to have to do the distribution once. But again, cross multiplication, that's the same technique we're kind of using on all of these. We've got 3 parentheses x minus 1 because we have to multiply the 3 by both pieces equals negative 4 times 2 is just going to be negative 8. So we'll distribute 3x minus 3 equals negative 8. Add 3 to both sides. 3x equals negative 5. Divide both sides by 3. X equals... Now there's two different ways you could write this answer. All right? One way is to write it as negative 1.6 repeating. Or if you'd rather just leave it as a fraction, you can just write it as x equals negative 5 over 3. And either one of those would be fine. All right, so both of those answers are fine for this one. Okay, let's take a look at what we have on the back. Okay, you are riding your bicycle. It takes you 28 minutes to go 8 miles. If you continue traveling at the same rate, how long will it take you to go 15 miles? Okay, so again, this is where we make our keys. We've got two units going on here. We've got minutes and miles. So I'm going to do minutes over miles. It takes us 28 minutes, so the 28 is going to go on top, to go 8 miles, so the miles is going to go on the bottom. Now if we stay at the same rate, how long will it take us to go 15 miles? Well, 15 is referring to the miles, so that's going to go on the bottom, and then our x is going to go on top because that's referring to the minutes. All right, so we're going to cross multiply here. We've got 8 times x is going to be 8x. We've got 28 times 15 is going to be, let me see here, 28 times 15, 420. Divide both sides by 8. Divide both sides by 8. X is going to equal 52.5. So x equals 52.5 minutes. All right, so 52.5 minutes. All right, now let's take a look at the last problem here. A canary's heart beats 156 times in 12 seconds. Find the unit rate. So this is what I was kind of warning you about. We're not always going to tell you what unit rate means. You have to know that it means per one of something. So we want to figure out how many times the canary's heart beats in 1 second. So again, we're going to start with our key here. We've got beats and we've got seconds. It beats 156 times in 12 seconds. So we want to know how many times is it going to beat in just 1 second. That's what you have to remember, that unit rate is per one of something. Okay? So once we have that set up, beats, beats, seconds, seconds, we can do our cross multiplication. We get 156 equals 12x. Divide both sides by 12. 156 divided by 12 is going to be 13. So x equals 13 beats. All right? The canary's heart is going to beat 13 times in a single second. Okay? All right. I hope this was helpful. Have a great day. Bye.